What's up, everyone? I'm Megan Avery, and welcome to BossFm Now, where you know you can always count on BossFM to deliver the latest and greatest in pop culture, politics, and whatever is buzzing in the streets. We do it for the culture.
That's right, Megan. Because we know you have your phone in your hand, we need you to go ahead and download that BossFM app from your app store and follow us on all social media platforms at BossFM Radio so you can stay connected.
Today we've got a new episode of Rapid Fire, sports, and some exciting new segments. So let's go ahead and get into it. Good evening, everyone. For our first story of the night, a factory in Baltimore contaminated up to 15 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The factory was working on two different types of vaccines in the same facility. The ingredients for these different vaccines were cross-contaminated. Federal investigation drew the conclusion that it was simply human error. The mistake was not discovered for days until Johnson & Johnson did a quality check on the vaccines before they were released. Any immediate vaccination distribution will not be affected by this. However, some people are worried about the completion of the factory's proposed 24 million doses.
I feel like every day I'm hearing news stories about something with the vaccine, whether that be cross-contamination in this instance, or a man yesterday on the news, he had an allergic reaction, like his body started fighting itself against the vaccine once he got it. So it's just like, it makes me really nervous and a little anxious on getting the vaccine, but we'll see what everything happens. And let's dive into some rapid fire with David.
What's up, guys? You guys are now tuned in to Rapid Fire. I'm your host, David Medina with BossFm Now. Now let's hop into the latest trendy news. For the first time, astronomers have detected X-rays coming from Uranus, the notorious seventh planet from the Sun. The X-rays in question were detected using NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory. Earlier this week, NASA said that the new study could help scientists at a large learn more about the planet, which notably boasts a diameter 4 times that of Earth. Among the possible explanations for this alternate source is that Uranus, like Saturn, is having the mysterious X-rays made by its rings. Biden is reportedly exploring his options to cancel $50,000 in student loan debt. Biden previously said he will not support massive student loan forgiveness, despite mounting pressure from congressional Democrats. The president said he was also hesitant to forgive large sums of student debt because it may disproportionately benefit those who went to elite schools. The legendary Tribe Called Quest producer and rapper Q-Tip is returning for a second season for his Apple Music show Abstract Radio. It's been quite some time since Q-Tip released a new episode of the Beats One show Abstract Radio, and on Thursday he announced it's returning. Q-Tip launched Abstract Radio all the way back in 2015, with new episodes trickling out up until 2018. Drake and Nike are gearing up to release the next round of Nocta gear, which is set to release next month. The new capsule collection is pretty similar to his previous drop, with a heavy emphasis on functionality and innovative tech. Designs include a lightweight zip-up jacket featuring Gore-Tex technology, a paneled fleece jacket made with Polartec, and a heavy-duty utility vest with foam insulation. That's it for Rapid Fire. I'm your host, David Medina with BossFm Now. Now back to the guys in the studio.
We are now joined by Harvey Cruz. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So after hearing David's package, what's the first thing that came to your mind?
Q-Tip. Q-Tip is the man. He's one of my favorite rappers ever. Anything he does, I will tune into and support. And also Biden. What are you doing, man? Don't think about it too much. Get it done. Help the kids. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely. I'm someone whose student loans are through the roof. So if he gives me forgiveness for $50,000, I promise you I will not complain. I won't ask for anything else for Christmas.
Forgive
I
and
agree.
live, that's what I say.
Student loans is the main thing on my mind right now with all of that. But thank you, Harvey, for sharing your thoughts with us, and we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. Moving right along, Rebecca's got the scoop on Kevin Durant and the NBA. Rebecca?
Kevin Durant was fined $50,000 by the NBA on Friday for his offensive and derogatory language in social media messages with actor Michael Rapaport. Rapper released images of the private messages Tuesday on his Twitter account, and they included homophobic, misogynistic language from the book Brooklyn Nets star. Durant apologized Thursday, saying, "I'm sorry that people seen that language I used, and that's not really what I want people to see and hear from me. But hopefully I can move past it and get back onto the floor." He is hoping to return soon from a strained left hamstring. And contributor CJ has a new episode of New Music. Let's check it out.
Thank you guys in the studio. This is your host CJ with BossFM, here to present your new music. Let's get into it.
LA-based singer-songwriter Joyce Rice has released her long-awaited debut album, Overgrown. With contemporary themes and original instrumentation, Joyce is giving fans a fresh take on some of that 2000s R&B nostalgia that so many of us seem to be craving. The album features guest appearances from Kaytranada, Freddie Gibbs, Lucky Day, and a few more others. Speaking of Freddie Gibbs, fresh off his Grammy nomination, Freddie is back applying pressure with his new single, Big Boss Rabbit. Buffalo native and one-third of the Griselda rap crew, Benny the Butcher, dropped a sequel to his Plugs I Met project. Produced exclusively by Harry Fraud, listeners can expect to hear more of Benny's intricately detailed street bars over Harry Fraud's smooth production. This project features guest appearances from the likes of Fat Joe, 2 Chainz, and French Montana. In more single news, Pierre Bourne, best known for his production for the likes of Playboi Carti and Gunna, has released his latest single titled For You. And last but not least, Compton's own Roddy Ricch and Detroit native 42 Dugg link up for what will likely be a summer hit in their new track For the Gang. And this has been your host CJ with Boss FM, presenting your new music. Back to you guys in the studio.
I just want to thank CJ for giving me a bunch of new music to listen to. I definitely needed it right now. We now turn to an interesting documentary that came out on Hulu about a startup company called WeWork, and its sudden rise to victory and its quick descent into failure. Let's check it out.
A friend of mine called me up and said, "There's this new thing. I can't tell you anything about it right now. I promise you are going to want to be a part of it."
The next revolution is the We Revolution.
Adam Newman sounded like a mythical figure, but it was a lot of smoke and mirrors.
When somebody tells you they're changing the world and you are helping them do that, it feels really special.
The future is about being part of something greater than yourself.
I believed every word that came out of Adam's mouth.
Adam told me I was going to be a millionaire.
WeWork wanted to become the next Facebook, the next Google.
It became this poster child for this growing trend of flexible offices.
They had already reached $1 billion valuation.
WeWork was the most overvalued company in the world.
They were willing to spend any amount of money.
When I say they're serving alcohol, they are serving alcohol.
Make some noise!
Everything about WeWork was propaganda.
For God's sakes, they're running desks.
Are they faking it till they make it?
The sales guy comes to me and he says, "This is some kind of cult."
Adam was getting interest from one of the richest people in Japan.
They gave Adam Newman $4 billion and said, "Go crazy."
It was like flushing cash down the toilet.
Are you profitable?
Right now, we're in a very high growth stage. You can actually choose when to be profitable.
What?
Rebecca was Adam's wife?
His co-founder was shunted aside. Adam wanted Rebecca to share the spotlight.
Adam was totally erratic. We had tracking bracelets on. I'm not kidding you.
You would talk about being president of the world.
You tell a 30-something male he's Jesus Christ, he's inclined to believe you.
WeWork went from a $47 billion valuation to near bankruptcy in just 6 weeks.
This is who I am. This is what I do.
Suddenly, this company is a laughingstock.
It was weak for everybody except for Adam.
Okay, I got it.
I'd like to welcome to the studio Harvey.
Thank you for having me again.
Harvey, Megan, after seeing this video, what were your initial thoughts?
Oh, this doesn't really. It's not surprising that a big old company goes from here up to way down. But the fact that happened in 6 weeks is amazing, and you could just get a feeling from the very first opening lines. He tells his friend that he wants him to be part of this, but he won't tell him anything about it. It's super shady to begin with, and the fact that you build up something, you get attention from a very super rich investor. He gives you a check for $4 billion, and he tells you go crazy, and that's how you go crazy with it. It's like the height of irresponsibility. It taps into like millennial values as well, because you see those guys sipping beer, and you're thinking that creating offices for millennials and other 20, 30-year-olds can just collaborate and work together and think that that's going to be the next wave of the future. Well, unfortunately, it's not, because A, the company went bust, and B, now that we're going to be in a post-pandemic world somehow, that stuff like that's just not gonna come about anyway. So it's amazing. 6 weeks, it went from here to boom, went down, and now you probably won't see that ever again.
Megan, how about you?
I could not help but thinking about the Fire Festival from a couple years ago. That was that big festival where they were like influencers and celebrities only. They invited everyone to this island, so they would have all this food and these great places to live. And then when everyone got there, it was like tents, and they had no food and no water and like no real bathrooms. And it seems like these really good concepts that people are like, oh, I can get together, I can do these things, I have the business ideas, I have the money for it, I have the people. And then they try to do these things that are big and grand and supposed to be perfect, and then they turn out like WeWork or like the Fire Festival into kind of hot garbage. So I definitely can see the comparisons between those two. But Rebecca, how about you? What did you think when you first saw this?
The thing that stuck out to me the most is when the guy said that they put tracking bracelets on them. I can't imagine working in a workplace where my boss could ever come up to me and say, I need you to put a tracking bracelet on. You need me to do what? Do I look like a dog to you? What do you need to keep track of me after work? Once I leave this job, I'm out on my own adventure, doing my own things. You don't need to worry about me. And I feel like we've all worked for certain bosses where they get very eccentric. And the moment that they start doing all these weird behaviors that I like to call weird, that's when you start seeing things from the beginning that you never really noticed. And you're like, wait, can I really work here still? I feel like the core values now shift, the goals shifts, and now we get into a different realm of what the company originally has started as.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because you can tell just from the main creator of WeWork that he was A, eccentric, B, very charismatic, and C, pretty much high on life. And I guess there's a valuable lesson to be learned from stuff like this. There's two, actually. One is that if you're that big into making something for the future, you want to at least surround yourself with people that have either been there, done that, or B, are thinking along the same lines as you for the future. That way you can create something sustainable. The second thing is, if you want to get involved with something like WeWork, make sure that the we bit is you understanding what you are getting involved in. Because it's not just you, it's we. It's literally in the brand company name. You and a whole bunch of others, whether it's you, your friends, cohorts, peers, whatever. You're all in this together. And if it's going to go down in 6 weeks, you want to get out before you can, before the good gets going. So
Definitely. But thank you for joining us, Harvey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Becca, is that the kettle I hear?
I think so.
I think it might be time for some tea.
Welcome to Tea with Becca. Grab your cups, take a sip, because the tea is here for you. And today we're going to talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and how Lifetime is creating a film based off their royal exit. Now, the film is going to detail a lot of things that happened while in the palace that ultimately led them to leaving the royal family. Now, when I first heard this, the first thing that came to my mind is they're going to milk this storyline all the way to the bank. Because I am nosy, I'm going to watch this just to see if there's any new details that are released that differ from their interview with Oprah. But what I really want to see is life after the royal family. How are they coping? What are the changes that they've realized? And Prince Harry, you were a royal ever since you were born. I'm pretty sure this is a big adjustment for you as well. That's what I want to hear about. I don't want to keep talking about the same situation. But that's all the tea we have for today. But don't worry, I'll be back next week. And that's the tea I had for you. And I definitely want to see Prince William's perspective. Not Williams. Rebecca, wrong brother. I definitely want to see Prince Harry's perspective because life has completely changed for you ever since you left. But moving on to our next story, Megan.
Bishop Reginald T. Jackson, along with other faith leaders, announced a national boycott of Coca-Cola, Delta, and Home Depot. These companies are based in Georgia, and this boycott is in protest of the new voting laws that have been passed in Georgia. Jackson stated that this boycott is a want, but it's not a want, but a need. Coca-Cola's chief executive talked with Jackson over Zoom, and they plan to continue having communication about this. The group that works with Jackson hopes to also speak with the executives for Delta and for Home Depot. The boycott officially starts on April 7th, and while it's just these three companies for now, more might be added into the future.
And up next, we have some Flashback Friday with Harvey Cruz.
Welcome, everybody, to something that we like to call Flashback Fridays. Let's Talk Movies. April 2nd marks the 53rd anniversary of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which premiered in 1968 by Stanley Kubrick, one of the greatest movies ever made, nominated for a number of Academy Awards, and winning Best Visual Effects back in 1969. And since it's also April, can you believe that this month marks the 20-year anniversary of the very first Shrek movie? That's right, with Donkey and the Muffin Man, starred by Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Mike Myers, and a whole bunch more. Of one of the best movies to watch. So much fun. And last but not least, some Flashback Friday music. 2021 brings the 10-year anniversaries for both albums, Camp by Childish Gambino and Section 80 for Kendrick Lamar, while it will also be the 30-year celebration of one of the greatest albums ever made, The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. This has been Flashback Friday. Harvey Cruz, BossFM Now.
It's pretty crazy to think that the cultural revolution that is Shrek appeared in our lives 20 years ago. That is a long time. But now, Rebecca has our last story of the night. Rebecca?
2 days after TMZ released a video of Sweetie and Quavo's physical altercation in an elevator, Sweetie told Billboard in a statement on Thursday, April 1st, "This unfortunate incident happened a year ago. While we have reconciled since and moved past this particular disagreement, there were too many hurdles to overcome in our relationship, and we have since moved on. I kindly ask that everyone respect my privacy during this time." TMZ also reported Thursday that Los Angeles Police Department is currently investigating the footage that was released online earlier this week. Law enforcement sources told the outlet that LAPD officers want to meet with both parties separately to discuss the incident and what happened before and after. Quavo followed up to People with a statement of his own saying he's never physically abused Sweetie. "We had unfortunate a situation almost a year ago that we both learned and moved from. I haven't physically abused Sweetie and have real gratitude for what we did share overall."
I'm really happy that we're getting some sort of context for the video that we discussed this week. However, I will still be keeping an eye out to see if there's anything else. But all right, everyone, that is actually it for your BossFM Now today. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of the latest and greatest.
And if you'd like to rewatch our shows, as always, they'll be available for replay on the BossFM app and on all of our social media platforms. Thank you again for tuning in, y'all. It's Rebecca Eugene.
And I'm Megan Avery. Have a good night.